Really matter. Okay, here we go. Tell me if you see us. Okay, I think you're gonna. Okay, one, two, three. That's how elementary it's gonna be.
I don't know what's going on with
It says live. How come we're not doing it? Let's see here. I'm gonna check out my thing too here. Hmm.
that. You're live.
I'm live now. Okay, everybody, listen. Only Matt and me could do this. We've been through the mill in our lives. Okay, you just missed a fantastic interview,
That's all
but
right.
he's going to do it again. But well, let me start off where I started off before. I have known Matt's family since before he was born. Okay, and by happenstance, we bumped into each other again at Chelsea Yacht Club. Who the hell knew that Chelsea had a yacht club, right? So we did some stand-up comedy that night, and we got to know each other. And we've bumped into each other a bunch of times. He's a good man. He's got a good story. I'm sure I do, but I want his tonight. Now, in life, when you're seeking success, some people take the elevator up to the top floor and they go from there. Guys like you and me, we get a rickety old ladder with missing rungs and everything else. So we start walking up that ladder and you slip a rung and you slide down again and you say, geez, I'm never going to get there. Then somebody gives you a little boost and you go up another rung. And before you know, you get to the top, but you can't quit. You got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have, and I've been admiring what you're doing, not only your comedy, but the moves that you have to make to be recognized in the business. You have a likability,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel as though in my life, kindness is my king. I try to be kind to everybody, and it pays high dividends. So, with that being said, Matt, even though I've done this interview with you a little while ago, I think we're on to something. Joan Powell, she is the killer queen. She just got us going, okay?
Technical difficulties. Joan
Technical
bailed us
difficulty.
out.
I am a technical difficulty guy. That's my middle name. Anyway, Matt, you take it from here, buddy. I want to hear your backstory. I don't want to hear about your comedy.
All right, yeah. There's no comedy with this. It
No.
really it's going to feel good to have a do-over, even though you guys didn't see the first part that we didn't get to broadcast live. Yeah, Donny, I always knew about the Tempesta family. I grew up with some of your family members over on the Malden side of Revere. And I think it was that your niece, Danielle?
They're all coming in now.
Oh, there we go. We got Pat McLeod here.
My God in heaven. I'm thrilled now.
Maybe Jay Leno will log on.
I'm glad we didn't laugh. I'm glad we didn't quit.
Okay. Yeah, so I grew up in Revere. Donnie obviously knows a lot more about my hometown than I do and the history of it. But for those of you people that aren't familiar with it, it's a very tight-knit Italian community. Or at least it once was, and it's very tight that everyone knows each other. People have nicknames. People are known as the barber, the jeweler, the pizza guy, and it's just that's how I grew up. And my uncles and stuff bringing me around. My auntie Mary was only freshly out of high school. I hung out with her all the time as my parents were working during the day, and she'd take me everywhere. We'd be on the Blue Line. We'd be traveling to the New England Aquarium or the Museum of Science. I guess I can't beat around the bush. I had a very good upbringing, very close-knit Italian family. My dad's family was Italian. And then my mom's family is Jewish. He married a Jewish woman in a time in life where that wasn't really accepted. And I mean, it's just from childhood on, I think I talk to my parents more than I talk to anyone on a daily basis with any issues or anything. And I,
No.
oh, I thought you were giving me the nudge.
Yeah, so you would look at me. That's
Oh,
all.
I'm sorry. You want me to look at you? I'm sorry.
Well, that's the.
I just feel like a lot of things in my childhood are the reason I have this aggression and enthusiasm for what I do today. And we had these little, I don't know if you want to call them turns off the road for a while, but it was it's just your description of taking the elevator to the top floor. I think I tried to make a few fire escapes, and I had to pick myself back up, but I can't put any blame on anyone but myself. My family never left my side. It was during a divorce where I took a shift from I don't know, normal everyday routines to kind of trying to numb myself from my situation with a marriage and having a child, and all the grief that comes from trying to grow up.
Yeah.
And I moved back home to Revere, and they have that saying, like we talked about, all you're going to get, if you lay with dogs, you get fleas.
Oh, yeah.
And I was surrounding myself with the wrong people. And it took me a while to get out of that dark cloud and realize that I had close, longtime childhood friends and family members that were trying to lead me in the right direction. And I had to embrace that. And I feel like I have a grasp on life now, but I still have a long way to go. And
one step at a time, brother.
Yeah, and it's difficult because it's hard to admit I just wasn't mature enough to realize that it's time to grow up, and rather than take on some of the things that life bring me, I tried to numb myself, and I turned to drugs and drinking, where family life wasn't as important to me as getting high or getting drunk and blocking out any bad experiences in my life. And once I dug the hole so deep, it was do or die to get fixed, to remedy myself. And I overdosed 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough.
I can't even imagine that.
Once in barber school, a couple times right in front of my parents, where it was tough to describe. You become a liar. You become
good at it.
You become very good at it.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, I didn't accept that I had a substance abuse problem. I kind of tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes and make it like I had this mental condition, or played the victim from bad relationships. I was a liar, I guess you should say. You can say that I had to, make up for those lies and come out with the truth. And a lot of it has to do with no one turned their back on me. I mean, you can't really clean up your act unless you do it as an adult.
Oh, exactly.
And it took a lot of willpower, but I'm no better than the next person. I would consider it more luck that I had people stand by me and not just throw me out.
Yeah.
Some people aren't as lucky to have families like I do, friends, and it's carried over to my enthusiasm with what I do now, cutting hair. I have a great circle of friends in comedy.
What's the name of your barbershop?
Over the Top Barbershop in Stoneham, Massachusetts. And I really don't have, I can't think of a better crew to work with because they focus on sobriety.
Oh,
and
good.
That's what this product is, Uplift. We give back a portion to Family Restored, families struggling with addiction. And my friend Rocco is very passionate about it. He's had deaths in his family. We've all had close friends die to drug overdoses.
Mutual friends too.
Yeah, mutual friends. And it's sad, and it's kind of too late when you have to learn from death, because there's no coming back from death.
No.
And you get tested. You get tested with a lot of things. Like, it could be a relationship with your family. It can be with a girlfriend. It can be with your own child. I got tested recently, and we all have, with COVID, and it was a dark time for everybody. And I really didn't know where I was going to go as far as my sobriety went. And I had some strong people keep me close to them and always check on me. And one of them was who we talked about, John T, my best friend. Is kind of like my brother. I mean, we all have friends. You had Vinny Straccia. It's like you turn to your friends for help when you don't want to come clean with your family. And John stuck by me a lot.
I gotta let Gary know we're back on.
Uncle Gary's calling. So
there you go.
John T really is the one that got me to clean up. He contacted my family, and I kind of got angry with him for doing that, but it was tough love, and you wanted to see the good part of Matt Misci, and I wasn't good. No. I will admit.
But he saw that sparkle. He saw that thing that made you his friend.
Yes.
You know, he knew that existed where other people didn't see it. You didn't see it.
I didn't. And I had to have people convince me, and they have to be close people to you. You have to be able to know that I can remember my dad coming up in my room once and saying, Matt, will you just step out? Like, will you just unzip yourself and step out because there's a good guy in there? And I wouldn't consider myself a bad guy during that period, but I was a toilet. I was a mess. Yeah. I didn't care about hygiene. I didn't care about the appearance of anything, my vehicle, my bedroom, anything. I was kind of like, just kick off your shoes, go to work, kick off your shoes, and find
pretty fragile at that time, huh?
Find your next fix. And like I said, coming close to death with overdoses. I had an episode where I just gave up on living by myself and trying to be a dad to my son, who was very young at the moment when I did this, but I took off. I left Revere, and the whole city was looking for me for a few days, and I ran off to New York, and I didn't plan on coming home. I didn't plan on taking my life. I don't think a lot of people believe me on that, but I just didn't want to come back to what I was dealing with. And it took me a while to come out of the clouds and see that I'm going home to something wonderful. Like, go home. What are you doing? I think I told you that it was around Christmas time when I had done that, and there was a little kid singing Christmas carols in front of Macy's, and it reminded me of my son, Dylan. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to see him again. What the hell am I doing? And I came home, and I got a second shot because the city gave me my job back. My family never turned their back on me. John T never turned his back on me. It's amazing to get the support I got. And now I look at it like I have to embrace that. I have great friends in comedy. I mentioned the guys at the barbershop and the girls at the barbershop. One thing I've learned is you can really beat a person. You can beat someone down to the ground. But when you have a team, you can't beat them.
No.
And I think that goes,
they know your bullshit.
Yeah, they know everything. You can't pull the wool over your team's eyes. And that's why sometimes they'll say three's a crowd, and you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah,
I can see how people can come to those conclusions, but I like my team. I like my team as far as my family. I like the fact my living situation. I live with John T's family. Like, I like being familiar with my surroundings, and comedy, the same thing. I have a childhood friend who went to an open mic. I mean, I know you said we wouldn't talk comedy.
No, we can talk comedy.
Yeah, he watched
it's all part of your life. This is your life.
And
Matt Misci.
It was the turnaround.
Yeah.
Just being able to have someone say, wow, we like what you're doing. And I give a shout out to Chris Flahive for just watching a video of me at a brewery doing a couple minutes of jokes. And a couple weeks later, I was opening for Lenny Clark, and my friends loved it. And they've all been on board with it since, because it's tough to bring an audience to a show all the time. And I'm still in the infancy of it. Yeah, I did it, and it felt great.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone's taken me under their wing, I think a lot of people, they don't appreciate that, and they go their own way. And there's a lot of animosity and resentment. Like, hey, I brought you to the stage. Yeah. Now you're taking off. What about me? And I have learned from the right people to bring everyone up. I'm not about Matt Misci when I do a show. I'm about everyone involved in the show. And I owe it to
you're a good observer.
I'm a great observer, but I also like to spread the wealth. I'm not pig-headed with it. And I love the opportunities everyone's given me. Mike Clark. I love that
Great guys. Great guys.
Lenny and Mike
Lenny,
come to my
the best.
barber shop. It goes beyond the stage. I mean, the Hurleys have become great friends with me. Just having Christine Hurley and someone like Paul D'Angelo, Paul Gilligan, those guys were not just shaking hands and going and performing.
No, great people.
We're doing stuff off the stage, out of the comedy club. We all hang out. Everyone checks on the health of my parents. Like, those things are important.
Exactly.
Because Donnie, like, working with people, it used to be sometimes you punch a time clock, go meet at the water bubbler, talk about the kids for a couple minutes, and then you don't see them until the next day.
No.
Sometimes I get out of work and it's like constant. Like, I have a friendship that goes beyond those things, where people are calling me to see, hey, how's your dad doing? How's your son doing? How's your girlfriend doing?
Yeah.
And I appreciate
the effort. You're going to make the effort as well as that. You got to put a little into the game.
It's not a one-sided thing, and I've learned that, and I owe all of that to my family, because I mean, I watched my dad do it as a high school principal. I watched both my parents do it just alone as parents. The neighborhood kids would come to our house. All my friends would want to go over the misci house and go in the pool, and I never looked at it. I never looked at it as they appreciated my family just as much as I did.
Yeah.
There was some jealousy points, like, why are we always going to my house? Why can't we go to your house? And
because there was a warmth at your house. That's why.
And I observe it now as adults. I still have kids. Oh, your father was my favorite teacher. I think about it, like, there were some kids that probably could have hated my dad as a principal because he got them in trouble. I know I didn't like when my teachers got me in trouble. And I'm talking, it went into probation. It went into Department of Social Services, where kids got in trouble for what they were doing in school, and they still appreciate my dad. And how can I not appreciate that? He's my father, and he carried his work over to me in our house. Like, he knew how to guide me, just like he guided people that weren't his children. I think he did a terrific job raising myself and my sister, and I love that I've had a second chance. I like that I can wake up in the morning now and not know where I'm. Like, I know that I have a routine, and I'm not just looking to go get high. I'll go drink and block out negativity because I'm embracing the positivity.
My son, I think, had a little problem at the high school, and I had to go see your father.
No, did you?
I just remembered it as we're speaking right now. Your father's a sweetheart, though. He's like, I see nothing bad about him at all.
Yeah.
And I've known him since he's a kid.
I know, and he is a sweetheart, but there's a tough side of him, just like there is with all you guys, old school Revere guys. We're not pushovers, and I've been amazed to watch how my father could keep a straight face and still take on that job, and being a dad and being a grandfather. And he wasn't all, like I said, it wasn't all clowns.
No. When they show the tough side, I know from myself, when they show the tough side, that means they really think a lot of you, because anybody could just like fluff you off. Oh yeah, good, have a good day. I saw what you did, and then you sit back and say, "Oh, he's mad at me."
Yeah.
You don't want the person that you love to be mad at you, So,
well, you got to set boundaries. And back then, I'd be scared of my father. I didn't want to upset him. I didn't want to bring home a bad report card. I didn't want to get fired from a job. I didn't want to, and it happened. I didn't want to get DUIs while I was driving, like in college. I didn't want to do anything to upset my father, and I'd get nervous of how he was going to react. And there were bad memories, but they made me stronger.
Of course.
And I wish I could carry that. I wish I could carry that on to what's going on in the world now. But it's just like, I loved teaching. I loved the kids. When I got out of college, my dad gave me a teaching position. I just think that it's evolved so bad to the point where it's like, none of those things are appreciated anymore. Like, I guess what I'm getting at is, me and you in high school or something, if we brought something to the school that the teachers didn't like, our parents would take the teacher's side and be like, you can't bring that to school. Now it's like, it's difficult, and the teachers have a hard job. I told my father, he got out just
like
in time.
cops.
And
cops have a hard time, same as teaching
and
stuff.
they're underappreciated for what they have to deal with. Sometimes they're dealing with your children more than you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I saw the liability coming with the way the way students and their parents were fighting back against teachers and administrators. And I mean, it's carrying out to everything in this world right now. And it's I feel bad for my son because a lot of the blame I put on like the way he's turned out in a coming from a family of divorce. It's like he's also a product of his environment. There's so many things that are going on, and I think the pandemic had a lot to do with my son because he started high school right when that lockdown happened.
Terrible.
And he didn't have social interactions like we do now. Everything's electronic.
A lot of kids got scarred from that.
Like when we went to school, we played school sports with each other. There was social interaction. Like you weren't just going like this on your phone.
And a town like Revere, let's face facts, it's a lot of roughhousing. We played baseball or softball during recess time. That's what I did. I don't know about your thing.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, and
organized sports is what's carried over. Like I have all my childhood friends. If they haven't passed on, I hang around with the same people I did when I was
the best way to be.
Still picking my nose,
familiarity.
I love it, and I look at some of the families now, and like even some of the up and coming weddings I'm invited to, and I'm like, they're actually childhood friends marrying each other. And I guess what I'm saying is Revere is a tight knit community, and I'd probably be pushing daisies right now if I didn't have people care about me that go beyond my.
Well, how's this? I'm glad you're not.
Yeah,
I couldn't run the show without you.
Right?
Okay, let's see. We got some people that just commented. They might want to be acknowledged. Big G, you're the best. Thank you, buddy. Pat McLeod. There's my two legends, he says. Rick James from Las Vegas. I made it, Donny. Number 3 with 7 watching. Let me remind y'all, show some thumb love to Donny T. Big G. Okay, let me see. I'm sure one of the 3 love you, Donny. Rick James, 8 now. Rick,
love it.
I'm on my way out to Vegas. I'm going to be there in a few days. And I'm taking all the friends of Donny T with me. Okay, I have people out there I'm going to interview. You're going to be one of them. And I got a lot of people. I want the friends of Donny T to see the other friends of Donny T. This is nothing without my friends. You got to understand something. Who am I? One solitary guy. Without my friends, I have nothing. Okay, and that I mean from my heart. So, my friends are my pulse. Okay, this is my good buddy here. Go get him.
Yeah, are we ending this?
No,
I didn't know. It sounded like you were saying farewell. Well, I want to thank all the guys and ladies, if we have any, for watching, because it's like it's tough to talk about all that stuff. But Donny wanted me to give you my background story because as an individual, you don't think of yourself as like the way you don't look at yourself as the way other people perceive you. Yeah. And for him, knowing my family for so long and just seeing my upbringing, a lot of you that do know me that are watching this know that I went down a bumpy road, and it's like, it really comes down to what Donny just said to you guys. What are you without your friends? And
that's right.
The support is what keeps you going.
Yeah.
And I am embracing it. I wake up every morning with a routine where it's like, it's all about work now. It's all about health. I like that I'm vertical every morning, and it feels good to know
horizontal sucks.
I think. Told. Yeah. And it's just you get overwhelmed. I get grumpy sometimes when I'm busy, but it's keeping me on a straightened path. And I owe it to people like Donny T. I owe it to the comedy community. I owe it to the people that wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get a haircut from Matt today. And it's an amazing thing, because when you feel good about yourself and you can bring other people into that feeling and make them feel good about themselves, it's a force you can't compare with.
You let off a glow.
You let off a glow. Yeah. If you're spreading negativity, if you're fighting with people over like politics or
people don't want to be around people like that,
Yeah, it's it's a good thing. Like it's the opening theme song to the show Cheers, Donnie, right?
Yeah.
You want to go where everyone knows your name,
Yeah, where
and
everybody-
they make you feel the same. Like it's just that's the sayings and all the innuendos and all the cliche comments. Like
Yeah.
it's they're there for a reason, because that's what happens. It's
I'm a lot older than you, but the similarities are there. You know, coming up, it's never easy. Who pushes you on the playground and who does this and who does, and you got to fend for yourself, you know? And many times that push ends up becoming a fantastic friendship. Have you had that happen?
Oh, unbelievable! He's definitely heard this story before, but I was always the short kid.
You're tall now.
I don't have any hair right now.
Oh, you had a
But
show.
when I had hair, I looked just like Eddie Munster from the Munsters. I was called that my whole life. I dealt with, waiting in line at gym class and everyone saying, "All right, we'll take misci," because I was the short one. And you know what? It made me tougher. I got picked on. I got bullied at a young age. I knew enough to give it back. And then it never carried on into later on in life.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, we're not bothering him. I've never been like physically harmed. I guess I'm blessed for that. I never had someone like hang me by my underwear in the locker room or anything. So
You had to get bullied. You couldn't. I grew up in the projects. I got bullied every single day.
see, I didn't have to deal with that. And I think a lot of that had to do with my father was a political figure in the city as far as, oh, really? You want to go mess with Tom Misci's kid? Then you're not going to play football this week. You're not going to play hockey. You'll be in the principal's office. So it was a blessing. But at the same time, I've had to deal with a lot of things like getting, I don't know, I guess it would start an argument to say this, but nowadays everyone gets a trophy. It wasn't like that when me and you were younger, Donnie.
I have a story about the Little League. I'll read it to you.
Yeah, right. You had to achieve things to get recognition when I was younger.
And if
now
you were not politically connected, you weren't on the Little League.
It didn't matter if you were Cy Young on the pitcher's mound. If you weren't politically connected,
you had to be.
And I remember that. I remember that as a kid, just looking at, even if it wasn't me, looking at one of your friends and being like, wow, he's the best one on the team. And, oh, wait, that guy's playing because his father's the coach. All right.
I taught guys how to play baseball. They made the team and I didn't.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that was a heartbreak. I got a story I'm going to tell one of these days. So.
And that goes into comedy, too. I mean, you get people with jealousy. It's a cutthroat business.
Oh,
like, why not? Why aren't I on the show? Why
Acting,
can't I do
same
this?
Thing.
Acting, definitely.
Same thing.
And I mean, I'm sure I could be there at one of those people too if I didn't have people take me under their wing. It's just that's the way it goes sometimes. What do they call that? Nepotism?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, I might have had a teaching position because my father took me under his wing and he was already an established teacher.
Just for the record, right? This is actually my second interview with this man. We tried it before. We went for like a half hour and we weren't recording. Thank God for Joan Powell. They came over here and bailed us these two dummies out. And now look at us.
Hey, we actually got 9 viewers. We probably had about 20 when we did that earlier half-hour interview. I'm not going to lie, Donnie. It's the hardest thing because I can't remember if I've told the story in the first half-hour interview or this. It's like doing 2 sets of comedy and not realizing if you told that joke yet. But it's very heartwarming to like get good responses when you tell a raw story about your life. Yeah. I could have got darker. I could have got deeper about what happened to me living on the streets. I mean, probably the worst area, Mass Ave in Boston, over near the Needle Exchange. That was my life.
Methadone Mile.
I'd actually get a ride home from my father when it was time to go back into treatment, and I'd have my son with me. And it was sad to leave him and just be like, I'm going to live here right now until Daddy gets better. He's sick. I remember my son was like, Dad, why are all these people sleeping on the sidewalk in tents and stuff? I didn't know how to break his heart. I told him the new iPhone was coming out and they were waiting for it. But he figured it out.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he was like, Dad, the new iPhone. You might
want to use that on stage.
You know, there's a lot of people ask me to talk about my sobriety on stage, and I guess I would get to that at some point. Right now, it's just.
But you can't be as raw.
I can't be as raw, but it's also moments I don't want to go back on.
That particular thing was very funny.
Thank you.
The new wife.
Well, there's ones you want to tell on stage where you don't. I guess what I could say, because everyone gets offended. You don't want to bring up a bad memory to someone in the audience that might have lost a kid that overdosed and stuff.
Yeah.
And
No, that makes sense.
it wouldn't make sense to do an overdose joke or anything anyways. No. But I think I see why I don't do sobriety type routines on stages, because it was a dark time in my life.
It brings you back. Yeah.
Everyone always asks, why don't you go back and visit the Hope House in Boston or the Pine Street Inn? It was as low as that for me when I was getting clean. I appreciate them. I love what they did for me, but why do I want to go back there? Why do I want to go and see? It's almost like revisiting an area where you got in a bad car accident.
Yeah.
It's tough for me. I don't even like driving down that street, Mass Ave. I try to go.
It's terrible.
I can remember waking up and walking to the barber shop I worked at, and I smoked cigarettes at the time, and I'd get to work and I wouldn't have one cigarette left. I'd chain smoke, but not only that, I'd see people.
I can't even see that with you.
I know. I'd see familiar faces on the way to work, and of course they're going to bum a cigarette off you. And I was handing them out and it was it's a tough thing to think about.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people followed me back then because I kind of documented everything. It's almost like I had an online journal about my journey through, and it's still going, A few times recently, just losing my best friend and my dad being in the hospital, I've gone to a few meetings, and it wasn't because I felt like I was gonna fall off the wagon or anything, but you need to hear it. You need to hear where you were and where you are now. You need to hear it even if you don't have a drinking and a drug problem.
I followed you when John was going through his bout with cancer.
Yeah.
And it's an not odd, wrong word, and I don't like to say it's a funny thing, but you lost your friend a year ago, and I lost my best friend a year ago.
I remember.
Yeah, Vinny Strasha. Sang like an angel, but
it's so strange because I was in meetings with Vinny Strach's son, with John T. And it's just, that's how tight the circle is with my sobriety. And it ended up being one of your friends, his father.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at it all the time and I think like that could have been me. That could have been the other way around. Someone saying, oh, we lost Matt Misci. Look at all the good memories. And I'm sad. Sometimes I'll just hear a song or I live in his sister's house. I'll see his nephew who calls me Uncle Mish. Like I go back and I get a little sad about it, but I also think I'm only where I am today because of people like John T and my dad and inspirations that were like, because my dad went through his stuff. He wouldn't mind me saying that on your live right now. My dad had an alcohol problem and he's been sober for 20 years now. I remember him saying, I don't want to drink when you have your son and I don't want to smoke cigarettes. Him and my mom smoked cigarettes. They're like, now it's like,
Gail smoked.
Back then they knew enough to say, hey, look, we got to straighten out.
Gary smoked too.
I don't remember Uncle Gary smoking. You smoked, me. Uncle Gary?
Are you there, Uncle Gary? I think
I know Uncle Phil smoked cigars.
Yeah.
And, I appreciate everything that's going on in my life right now because it's not just me in full throttle. We got full throttle. We have a team going. I have so many people that have my back. I guess you could say I'm piggybacking off their success in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm not using it to better myself. I'm embracing it and I'm enjoying it. I don't have any reason to think it's going in the wrong direction. And once I'm not having fun, I just weed it out. Like I've done everything in my life. Yeah. Any negativity I've weeded out. And that's why I wake up smiling.
Yeah.
I have bad days. Who the hell doesn't? Yeah. But
it's joyful to me to see people bounce back. I've lost so many people due to drugs. And I mentioned one to you a little while ago when we both knew Joe.
Yeah.
Tremendous friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And we did a couple of movies together, Joey. Wow. He was a great actor.
Very good.
He was in that, what's his name? Whitey Bulger movie.
Oh, wow.
You didn't see that?
Oh, I didn't know it was him, but I remember them filming it at my friend's restaurant.
Right at the beginning. They beat him up.
The Italian. Oh, that was him?
Yeah, he did a hell of a job.
Oh,
and
wow.
I know his mother very well. It's so very sad to.
No, it is sad. My friend has his face tattooed on his arm. He comes in once a week for haircuts. They were best friends.
And that's Burns.
Yeah, they did all the columns in the Encore Casino,
Yeah.
which is overpacked this week with the new sports betting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice kid too. I liked him.
Well, let me tell you something. Matt Misci, aka the Mish. Okay. I love this guy. He's a great guy, and I wish him nothing but success in his comedy career. I know he's doing very well as a barber. That's great. I mean, I'm very, very happy for you. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
I wish I was your age. I'd be out there too. I'd be doing my thing too. But when you get to this age, you gotta, I'd rather help other people because that's why I started this here. Donny T and friends. The friend aspect is because when I was coming up as an actor, I didn't know how to promote myself. A lot of stuff I didn't know how to do. And now you have technology that can help you along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have this here as a reference if you want to ever show anybody your interview so they'll know who you are. You have that. Same thing with Pat.
There's no such thing as bad advertising. If you're getting yourself out there, it's like I do it obnoxiously. I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh wow, I'm up an hour early, and then it just goes by like this because I'm posting, I'm seeing who's where, who's coming in for a haircut, where are we getting a venue to do a show, what time are the Bruins on, boom, bing, 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 doing all these things, and it's filling my head with positive routines every day instead of waking up and saying, oh, what time can I get to Chelsea to get that stuff? And where am I going to meet my friend at the track? And
Donny T got up at 4 this morning, and I haven't been back to sleep since.
This guy's driving to Vegas. I don't even want to drive back to Revere from Burlington, and he's driving to Vegas.
That's right. Well, I have my son, my grandchildren, my daughter-in-law, and I have many friends there. My friend Rick, are you still here? Rick James.
I love that.
A white Rick James.
Wow.
He's a cool kid. Nice guy. I gave him a nickname years ago. Freedom.
I thought you were going to say Super Freak.
Nah, freedom. He was going through like you. I was married twice. You go through, peaks and valleys in life. But Rick's a good man. I can't wait to see you, buddy.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for watching. I love having all you guys watch. It feels good because we had some technical difficulties earlier. I thought we were going to look and see a big goose egg for viewers.
We didn't quit because of you, John.
Yeah, my girlfriend saved the day over here. She's very tech savvy,
and I am very tech not savvy.
Well, it could be worse. We could have like someone sitting here and not having this setup. Donnie's got a great setup here. I mean, I wouldn't describe his whole house for him due to privacy reasons, but when you got pictures on the wall of you with Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, and then I'm sitting here with him too, and we grew up in the same neighborhood, it feels good.
It feels very good. It really does. And, we've rubbed elbows in our lives with people, mutual people, without ever knowing that,
I know. I didn't even know who you were up until like 5 years ago when we met at Chelsea Yacht Club. And I want to definitely clear something up right now for all you viewers. This is not a bong because it looks like one in the back. It's like one of those kerosene candles or something. I don't want anyone to think that Donny T is smoking the Chiba before he heads out to Vegas. But this is good. Oh, now that I broke it. We're good. We're good.
Okay. We are done, guys. Please do me one favor and subscribe because that'll make us relevant. That'll make us relevant. There's no money here. I don't make 10 cents. He doesn't make 10 cents. But you guys can put us on the map a little bit if you will subscribe. Thank you very much. Donny T loves you. Over and out. God bless, buddy.
Peace.
Oh, we hit this thing here.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.